What's up, YouTube? This is Youth Music. Today I want to talk to you about the brand new full-length album from Slaves called Routine Breathing, but you probably already knew that title. I'm going to be a little bit more fair than most reviewers. I've read a couple reviews, and it seems that every single one of their reviews is based around their personal opinion of vocalist Johnny Craig. Now, I may not be the biggest fan of all of Johnny Craig's personal life choices, but I don't see how that should interfere with me liking his music, so I figure I'll be a lot more fair. I've been a big fan of Johnny Craig since his days way back in Ghost Runner on 3rd, then he went on to do Dance Gavin Dance and Emerosa. He pretty much lost my interest around 2011 or 10 when he did the second Emerosa album that literally sounded exactly alike with the first one they did. Stand by my opinion and say that Dance Gavin Dance was the best thing he ever did. Am I wrong? But so far this year he's released 3 projects, one being Johnny Kyle Midnight and a surprise EP release about in May maybe, and then Routine Breathing just yesterday. First 2 releases this year just didn't grab me. Johnny Craig was just the downfall of the Johnny Kyle Midnight project. Kyle Lucas and Captain Midnight killed that entire record, and then his solo EP was just nothing stood out to grab me whatsoever. So needless to say, Routine Breathing wasn't a very anticipated album for me. I wasn't really expecting to actually like it, but it turns out it's actually pretty damn good and has a lot to offer. A lot more than their last release from last year, We Are All Equal Through Art. Craig's vocal style became almost like routine breathing, see what I did there, when it came to every single album, considering he never did anything different with his voice. It's that same mid-range and just never really went anywhere else with his voice. That's why I'm saying his best work was always in Dance Gavin Dance, because he just elevated his voice so well in that band to just go perfectly with everything else. But every other project that he's been involved in is just, oh, it's Johnny Craig. Because even with a full band behind him, he is just stands out, and it's not because he's a bad singer or anything. He's a very good singer, that's why he stands out. But the way it's produced and even written just all seems like it just wants to project him and nobody else. So Routine Breathing may do that here and there in certain tracks, and just overall 15 tracks may make Johnny Craig's voice a bit repetitive. It's still well worth instrumentally. Other things actually stand out in this album as far as the instrumentation. Lead guitarist Alex Lyman kills it the entire album, track to track. He probably even stands out more than Johnny Craig through most of this record. The lyrical content is strong in this record, but it becomes a bit stale, always being about rising above and I'm on the right track and I'll never lose myself, and basically just stating that he's constantly fighting demons and he's going to overcome them. But for the most part, that's what most of the record is. But there's songs about, well, there's one song about Emerosa, which is running through the 6 with my soul, completely directed towards them. They just released a music video with the album yesterday that purposely ripped off People Like Me, We Just Don't Play by Emerosa's music video. It made me chuckle a bit, but the song is overall good. The lyrical content really speaks. You can tell what it's about. The lead guitar work is superb. The drumming just works with everything. The better moments of Routine Breathing is the opening track is Drowning in My Addiction, which is possibly the most upbeat song I've heard Johnny Craig do in years, and his voice is powerful as hell in that song and just makes you want to listen to the rest of this album. It's just like, wow, this is actually different. The 4 collaboration spots in this album were great, including Garrett Rapp of the Color Morale, Spencer Chamberlain of Sleepwave and Under Oath, Killian of Dance Gavin Dance, and the usual spot from Kyle Lucas. I'm not saying usual is a bad thing. This song was probably the best I've seen from Kyle Lucas and Johnny Craig working together. Hands down the best song. was a little disappointed that the song with Tillian in it ended up being acoustic. Wasn't really expecting it to be an acoustic song, but it worked out in its favor because now that I've listened to it, I can't see that song going any other way. They work together very well. They harmonize with their melodies in the background very, very well. Well-written song, the lyrics are catchy, it will get stuck in your head. Hearts Are Broken featuring Garrett Rep has probably the catchiest chorus of this entire album, and also makes you say, why in the hell hasn't Garrett Rep and Johnny Craig worked together before? We said that back in the beginning of the Color Morales musical career that Garrett Rep kind of reminds me of Johnny Craig, and now that I heard them two finally together, yeah, they work very well. I kind of wish they would do like a full acoustic song together and just work on it. It would be so epic and just fucking amazing. Saves the Saviors featuring Spencer Chamberlain probably breaks up the album good. It actually has a nice heavy tone at the end with some Chamberlain screams, and layered with Craig's voice, it's a different sound overall. It breaks up the album. Many moments, good moments as this album has. It has its rather bland and stale ones, such as the mediocre closing track. It has no significance being there whatsoever. Could have been so much better. Never Let Us Say Goodbye and Why Fit In When You Can Stand Out just sound like every other song. It's not as good, of course, because I haven't complained about them yet, have I? The fact that they took a song from their last record, There Is Only One God and His Name Is Death, and dubbed it One God in this album and made it the acoustic track, it's a little disappointing. Like, couldn't have done that for the deluxe edition release of the last album. Standout moments in this record are Is It Chill to Steal From Your Friends, I believe that's what it's called, and Shout Out to All My Toasters, and We're So Michelle Branch. All three of these songs alone make this album for me, along with the single Burning Our Morals Away. They are all fantastic songs that are repeat worthy. I'm going to listen to them probably a shit ton. I've listened to We're So Michelle Branch probably about 20 times since it released yesterday. Just how Johnny Craig and Alex Lyman work off each other in that song with the lead guitar and his voice is magical. As well as the other three songs alone. My favorite thing about this album is lead guitarist Alex Lyman. He made this album. Kudos. You're probably going to make it into our end of year review. If none of you know what that is, I'll leave a link in the description to our Facebook where we explain it. And there will also be a voting poll this year, so you all can tell us your favorites from this year. The production job is way better in this one, as last one was done by Chris Crummett, who does bands like Elisana, Issues, and Dance Gavin Dance. This one was dubbed by Cameron Mazel, which is probably my favorite producer, who's done Woe Is Me and Memphis Made Fire, I See Stars, all types of stuff like that. But overall, he made this overall sound of this record a lot more spacey and ambient in the back, had a lot more just ambient. Overall, I'm going to say I'm going to have to give this a 4 out of 5, just based off the fact that I was not anticipating listening to this at all, and I ended up loving it, and I can't stop listening to it, really. It's just surprising. I'm glad that I'm starting to like Johnny Craig more and more, as much as me or anybody else doesn't agree with what he does. He's a very talented person and a very good singer, if he just really puts his mind to it. He just really needs to try and actually put some thought to it and not just say, hey, here's some music for you. But overall, great record. I highly recommend you checking it out. I'll leave a link in the description. If you like what we had to say, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, tell us what you thought of the albums in the comments. See you next time, guys.